Hello, everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven,
My name is Jerry.
and we are here continuing our draft profile series where we are looking at potential draft picks for the Carolina Panthers. We're kind of keeping it around the second round right now, but we will eventually move into the later rounds as
Mm-hmm.
well. Um, but
Real
the guy we're going to talk about today, go ahead.
before we start
Yeah.
getting into our player today, I do want to quickly say if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We have an
Yes.
issue where they restrict all our videos for no reason. I guess my face is too handsome to let out unrestricted, and all the
Right.
ladies you know, try to hunt me
Go
down.
ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Hunt me
That's what
down.
it is.
So therefore, they always restrict it. I always have to try and get it unrestricted, but if you don't like and subscribe, or if you don't subscribe, it's harder to find our videos. The algorithm doesn't like restricted videos.
Thank you for that programming note, Jerry. Uh, today we're talking about my favorite position in the NFL, tight end. Well, my second favorite. Obviously, kicker is number one, but then tight end is a close two.
I should have
And
really used the tight end segue for my restricted comment.
yeah, should have. Um, the Panthers have not had a what I would say a receiving threat tight end since Greg Olsen left, right?
I would say a serviceable receiving tight end, even. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, even a guy that you're worried about.
yeah.
I mean, there's nobody that even Hayden Hurst last year brought in, and he's a guy that has a history of, 400 or 500 yards receiving. It was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't play a lot and just was awful looking when he was out there. So uh, it's time to address the tight end. Now, this is not a strong tight end draft. You've got, was it Bowers at the very top?
Oh yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, he's probably a top 10 pick, top 15 at latest. And after that, there's kind of a bunch of guys who are, mid second to, all the way at the end of the
Fifth.
draft.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got, there are different, different ranking websites have them kind of different ways, but this is a guy that I saw ranked second the most. Jatavian Sanders out of Texas. Sanders was a 5-star recruit. Okay. So I always like getting guys that are 5-star recruits because that means at some point they were considered one of the best, right? One of the best at their positions. He's only a few years out of high school, so not that far away. Went to Denton Ryan High School in Denton, Texas. In 2022 and 2023, he was named first team All Big 12. He broke Texas school records for tight end receiving in 2022 and then broke his own record in 2023, where notably he did not drop a single pass. Okay. A single pass, an entire season.
Yeah.
And he was not, he was targeted 67 times. So that's pretty good.
Ian
That's
Thomas
like
could show him how to do it.
Right. Ian Thomas would be like, oh my God, I don't even want to talk about Ian Thomas. 6'4", 245. So he's got, probably average tight end height. A little smaller in the build from what I've read for a tight end, but that's still a decent size. Stats, Jerry, what we got?
Stats. In 2021, he did not play. In 2022, he had 54 receptions on 72 targets, 613 yards, 5 touchdowns. 2023, 67 targets, 45 catches, 682 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, 15.2 yards per reception in 2023 compared to 11.4 in 2022. So he upped his average there a bit. About the same number of snaps, so just a few less targets, but did more with his catches. So you like to see that. Pros and cons. I'll start off with the cons here. He is not an overwhelming size threat and doesn't have high-end mass or reach. So from what I've, kind of read and watched from him, red zone threat, maybe not immediately. He does have room to add on size, but, as of right now, he's not quite there. So less suited for traditional tight end blocking roles that require consistent inline play. So this is kind of the big negative with him. He's not the best blocker. Okay. And that's being kind. Right? He's not the best blocker. This is a receiving tight end. Okay. Now, can he be taught to be at least a serviceable blocker? I think so. I
6'4",
think most guys can.
245, and
Yeah.
you get him in the NFL weight room.
Right.
Yeah,
He's gonna put on 20 pounds of muscle probably.
yeah.
And I think that doesn't bother me really. So encounters difficulty when facing collegiate edge defenders at the line. So again, not the best blocking tight end. And then modest play strength could create issues in beating press. And Jerry may tell you why that's not that big of a deal with the
Uh,
pros.
uh, he's a matchup nightmare for linebackers. He has great acceleration, explodes out of his stance. Will likely need to be covered by a safety or a corner just because of his speed. Even though he has 4'6'9", 40,
That's
he
fast for a tight end. And
he
again,
he's a
quick.
long strider. When I
Yeah.
was watching the tape on him, he catches the ball and runs, but he somehow he seems to play faster than that when I was watching him.
Right. Right.
Effective after the catch. I just said it. He's a long strider, shows potential as a screen receiver to take it to the distance. Again,
Yeah.
that's not the type of player that's usually slow. So,
Yeah.
fast. Has strong hand usage against press coverage, able to get off that line. So, even though he did struggle with that mass, he's still good. He works well with his hands against the press to get him off. Nice lateral movement, adding versatility to his receiving abilities. Has the tools to become a more effective move blocker, even if it isn't there yet. I agree with that. That basically, a lot of these tight ends either are asked to block and not receive, or receive and not block in college. And then in the NFL, they want you to do both. So it's a learning curve, typically, no matter who you draft.
He's just a guy that can create mismatches.
Mm-hmm.
And that does nothing but have positive outcomes for your offense, right? He's a guy that, with the ability to catch screen passes and just being a nice big target over the middle with room to run after catches, he's going to make Bryce Young's life a lot easier. This is the type of player from a receiving standpoint that you want on this offense, an offense that Dave Canales wants to get the ball out in less than 3 seconds every snap, right? So having a guy that can be that, safety outlet receiver, as tight ends often are, or screen receiver. Again, he's versatile. He's going to create mismatches on your defense. You're going to have to put a DB on him. That's going to dictate how the defense has to play you. I like guys like that, even if he is a bit of a project in the blocking.
See, and the good thing is, as much as you hate him, Ian Thomas and Trimble are decent blockers. So
Sure.
if there's obvious blocking
People keep telling me that.
situation,
I believe him.
if there's obvious blocking situations, you don't put them in. I mean,
Or you put him in as a decoy.
yeah,
right?
you put him in there as a leak guy. Those type of players. But yeah, I agree. I really like him. I liked his long strides. I feel like he plays more like the receiver type that you
Mhm.
want, and I could see him becoming a top tier type of receiving tight end. He has that build. He has that speed. He has that agility. He just needs to put on some strength and work on some fine tuning, because he's still kind of raw in a lot of the tight end abilities. Did you see if he was a wide receiver in high school, or what position?
I think he was a tight end in high school, but
okay.
He was a 5-star recruit. I can't imagine he was a 5-star recruit as a wide receiver and then became a tight end in college, So, but I don't know for sure. So let us know if I'm wrong about that. What was I going to say? Oh, his pro comps. So Jared Cook,
Mm-hmm.
David Njoku,
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Likely.
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of his pro comps. Again, those are not tight ends who are considered the best overall tight ends in the league, but all three of those guys receiving threats that you would like to have on your team. I certainly would.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
You
liked all
know,
three of those guys, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Likely and Jared Cook.
I
Yeah.
always wanted us to sign Jared Cook. I always wanted us to sign him, and we never did. But and again, those guys all have their limitations. But so this would be a player that I would like if the Panthers traded down from 33, right, and picked up, a mid second or a late second and a first next year, something like that. Um, this would be a player that I would think would be a good target in that mid to late second round range.
Yeah, I 100%. I don't think he's a top 50 pick. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
below that. But if you get him 50 or a little bit below, I think that's a steal. I think you could mold this guy into it. I agree. I wouldn't be happy with a 33 or 39 pick used it on him.
I
But
wouldn't be unhappy with the 39th pick, I don't think. Like if they really liked him and they just went and got him, I think I'd be okay with that.
I mean, yeah, I think yes, you're right because I always say it's the coaches and front office decision
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sitting from far away. So,
Like if they think that he can be a difference maker, then take him in at 39 versus taking him at,
50.
53. Like
Yeah.
what's the big difference there? Not much. So yeah, but we looked at a few different tight ends and we'll talk about probably another, at least one, maybe two
Yeah,
more tight
yeah, I
ends.
assigned another different one to you
Yeah.
because I saw him mock to us, and then the last minute you're like, "Oh, by the way, I switched." I was like, "Man, I wanted to hear your thoughts on this guy because I already researched him and had my
Yeah.
thoughts."
We'll talk about that guy later on, maybe when we're talking third, fourth round picks, something like that. But uh, outside of Bowers, who we're not going to get, I think this is a pretty good second option. Again, it's a weaker tight end draft. So in a normal tight end draft or like the last year's tight end draft, he would probably be like a third round pick, late third round pick. But in this year's draft, he'll likely go day 2 in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, he has tools. He has the tools.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not like you're picking nobody out there.
Right. Yeah. I like him. All right. Think that'll do it.
Yep. Thank you for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. And if you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. Also, reach out to us. I got a lot of stickers I got to give away.
We'll be back very soon to talk about our next draft profile I guess. Until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.
Wow.